Welcome back to Gene Therapy, a whole new world. It's your girl, Hannah, and today we are diving into the real life side of gene therapy. Now, I know it can sound kind of futuristic, but for families living with hemophilia, it's not science fiction. It's here, and it's real, and it is changing lives. But before we jump in, here is a quick word from our sponsor. It's a whole new world gene therapy segment brought to you by CSL Behring and their Hemophilia B gene therapy treatment. To learn more about gene therapy, hear patient stories, and view additional support resources, visit beyondhemb.com or download B Support wherever you get your apps for more information and to manage your treatment journey. Alrighty, let's get into it. So I got the chance to meet with Domenic, a young man living with hemophilia B, and his mom, Brianna. Together, they have been on a roller coaster ride with the ups and the downs of infusions, of bleeds, and the constant worry that comes with them. But now they are experiencing what gene therapy can make possible. For Domenic, growing up with hemophilia meant every day carried its own set of challenges, from sticking to an infusion routine to always taking those extra precautions.
Before gene therapy and I was doing my prophy, when I was living at home, things were a little different. If I didn't remember and take the initiative to do it myself, it will always be my mom to make sure that I did my medicine until I was about, 11 or 12. And then I learned how to self-infuse. And then that's when it just started to become a hassle for me.
It was a learning experience for both of us because we didn't know about the hemophilia when I had him. So that was like a complete shock. At the end of the day, it was kind of just like always me and him figuring it out.
Now, as Domenic got older, that independence brought a little bit of freedom and a few new hurdles. Because for anyone with hemophilia, treatment isn't something you can just leave behind. It sneaks into almost every part of your daily life.
I was doing it once a week. I was just getting tired of doing it. And then I went to college, and then my mom wasn't with me to remind me to do my medicine all the time. So I would go days, weeks without doing my medicine just until it finally got to a point where like, all right, it's been long enough.
And just when you think that's the hardest part,
calling to order my medicine, that was probably the second thing that I hated doing the most. It's like a 15-minute phone call, and then they just ask you the same questions every time.
So while Domenic was figuring out his own independence, Brianna had her own set of challenges. Raising a kid with severe hemophilia meant nonstop worry and even more hospital visits than she could count.
When you have somebody who has something as severe hemophilia, your anxiety goes through the roof all the time. Like every time your phone rings, if he's not with you, you're worried about just like his medication, like making sure you stayed on top of that, like that you had enough, that you had to know the difference between when he started going on prophylactics, you had to know the difference between prophylactic dose and bleed dose. And you needed to know how to communicate that with the hemophilia team. It was very stressful and very overwhelming, especially since, I was such a young mom.
Before saying yes, there were a lot of conversations, sorting through the worries, the hopes, and the what ifs.
This was one of his concerns when he thought about doing the gene therapy. He was just like, well, what if it doesn't work and then I can't ever get anything again? I said, well, we waited 18 years for this. I said, so medicine changes every day. Like they're constantly working on things in every medical aspect of the world. So who's to say that if this one doesn't work, that in 10, 15 years that there won't be another one?
While Brianna was thinking about long-term hopes and fears for Domenic, the day-to-day grind of treatment was always front and center for Domenic.
But it never wasn't on the back of my mind. Like I was still cautious of the fact that I had to do my medicine. Just ignored it. If I had to add up all of the times that I would have the thought like, oh snap, you gotta do your medicine, where I'm somewhere else or like just out and about living life, I would say at least 5 to 10 hours out of the day, maybe. Just hemophilia in general. You always have to be cautious of the fact that you have hemophilia. So it's like, it's not something that should never just be absent from your mind, living life as a hemophilia patient, even after gene therapy. Just that my doctor reminded me of that today.
Even with all of those obstacles, Domenic showed that go-getter attitude, taking charge of his own care, even when it meant learning how to self-infuse.
I was extremely proud of him. When I was infusing him, that was hard for me to do. I couldn't imagine doing that to myself.
So that's why gene therapy was such a big deal. For Domenic, it wasn't just about fewer bleeds. It was about totally changing the path of his life.
I remember my mom told me when we found out about gene therapy that the doctors, when I was born, told her that 18, 20 years down the line, there would be like a big jump in hemophilia. When I went from taking my medicine twice a week, once a week, to not taking it at all. I thought I would be infusing until I was at least 30.
When I got the call, it was a very emotional call, to be honest with you. I mean, I cried with the nurse practitioner on the phone. I remember his Dr. Travis, like she always said, like when he's 18, 19, there would be big changes in the hemophilia B world. And I was just like, okay. And then when you get that call, it's just like, wow, what? I know when I heard about the gene therapy, there was never kind of like any setback for me. It was kind of like, okay, he has to do this. But at the same time, I had to remember that he's a 18 or 19, however old he was. I was like, this is a major decision. Like, I can't make this decision for him. Being able to risk the long-term benefits with the short-term benefits, I was extremely proud of him, like that he could take that mentality and be able to make this work for him.
It took a few months of weighing the pros and the cons and having all the right talks, but in the end, well, the results pretty much say it all.
My biggest hope, and this was all I needed to be happy and like content with me taking gene therapy, was just being able to stop infusing, just not being able to infuse and being able to live the lifestyle that I want freely without always worrying. Now that I have gene therapy, I could do the things that I normally do without the worrying aspect of it.
Domenic got that taste of freedom, but a choice this big? Well, there is no flying solo. It takes the whole crew.
This is the decision that he needs to make. And then it was just kind of like us coming together with us and then our family and the team at CHOP and just weighing all the pros and cons. We talked about his fears or like his setbacks with why he wouldn't want to do it and then versus why he should do it. And then he ultimately made the decision that he made.
Of course, for Brianna, gene therapy meant something completely different, especially when college life meant he was out of her sight.
The reason why I kind of wanted him to do it was because, selfishly saying, it gave me that peace of mind because I knew that once he went to college, I knew he wasn't doing his medicine when he was supposed to be doing it. Did I know it was as bad as it ended up being? No. But I knew he wasn't doing the medicine. And then, it's when they're away from you like that, it was just more worrisome. It was just like, is he doing his medicine? Like, is he remembering to order his medicine? Because sometimes the pharmacy would call me instead of calling him. And then I would say, did you order your medicine? He'd be like, yeah, no.
My expectations matched. Absolutely. After I got gene therapy, my doctor thought that I would have to infuse for at least 1 or 2 more weeks. But after we got my first results back, I didn't have to infuse at all. My doctor made the decision to just stop my infusions. It's been a year and some change now since I've infused. I haven't had to infuse. I haven't had any bleeds. I've just been living my life freely.
All that freedom is great, but a year later, how is Domenic's factor level actually holding up?
If anything, I thought my factor levels would either just stay the same or if anything, like lower a little bit. But actually, I met with my doctor in May when I was done my junior year, and then my factor went up. It was actually the highest it has been. I saw my doctor today too. He reminded me of this, but he said that the test in May was the highest my factor levels had been since they got the baseline of my factor levels at the beginning of my gene therapy. So that was kind of shocking. I didn't think that it would work that way. I've just been grateful and taking advantage of the opportunities, I guess, that I've been provided with.
The numbers were impressive, but the bigger change, the more peace of mind and pride it brought to both of them.
I think it's a big release off your shoulders. Like you could take a deep breath in knowing like, it's one less thing that I don't have to sit here and stress about every day. And then just to be proud of them because it wasn't easy.
Domenic and Brianna's story shows us just how transformative gene therapy can really be. not just in the lab results, but in the freedom it gives back to the families who've lived with hemophilia every single day. Their journey is truly a reminder that treatment is never just medical, it's personal. And we are not stopping here. In our next episode, we're taking you on the road to the Bleeding Disorders Conference in Denver. We sat down live with doctors and patients to dig deeper into the future of gene therapy and what joint health means for our community. Until then, it's your girl, Hannah, and you won't want to miss what's next.